Well, welcome to another ride. I just noticed that in this frame, there's a little piece of my phone sticking out. I like to use my phone, as a phone, but I usually track my rides through my phone. So I don't really have a specific computer to track everything. I always think I have a phone. I use it for taking pictures. I use it for taking phone calls. Why not use it to track the ride? So also notice at the top, there's this little piece of light sticking down, which I think might be something with my helmet, the chin strap or something for my helmet, but I'm not sure. Because I'm trying something new. This ride was done in October 2024, but I'm actually doing this voiceover in January 2025. So, a little bit from the past. And in the future of this ride, I'm doing the voiceover. So I'm looking out my window and it's full of snow and it keeps snowing a lot and then stopping and snowing a lot, then stopping. This ride is kind of interesting to me because this goes from one area of the city, near the city hall, and it goes to another rest stop. And this is like a major bike route. So I'm so blessed to be on a major bike route like this. You can see all the blue, how well marked it is, how well kept up it is, how beautiful it is. The this leads to a major rest stop, which we'll talk about a little later. So this is just a beautiful bike path. And you see absolutely no cars. It's full of greenery, beautiful. It's flat. Pretty much it's completely flat, so, you get a very steady workout. It's not full of hills, but you do get a steady workout. And I just love how beautiful it is. And this view changes from season to season. Could I go today on this route in the ice and snow? Well, like there's danger of slipping off and, like we're right next to the river. So it's possible I could fall off right into the river. I have to be very careful of these things. So, yeah. So this turnoff, if I go to the right, which I'm not going to do today, that goes over a little bridge. That's a whole different section that you can go and explore. But if I go straight here, this goes to this famous rest area. What's funny to me is my family used to go to this rest area all the time and nothing to do with biking. We used to go there because there's a big noribong, right? There's a big playground for children. And when my son was young, he used to love going to the playground. But it also has fields to explore and, it has like this running track. And we used to like kick the ball around in the center of it. So we used to go just for all kinds of activity. They also rent bikes there. And they rent these bikes that hold like four people, very tall bikes. So my family, especially my son, used to love using this bike. But I'm the main biker, so I'm basically pedaling for four people. So that got to be a little difficult on me. Everybody's enjoying the ride. I'm having to pedal like crazy. So again, this bike path, very beautiful with these big bushes along the edges here, full of these white flowers. And, you know, again, we get cherry blossoms sometimes. We get, bright green sometimes. Sometimes, as everything starts to die for the winter, everything turns brown. And that has its own kind of beauty. So, Interesting bike ride. All right, so let's stop for a minute. Let's listen to some music. Well, I hope you enjoyed that music. I stopped here because these things were just amazing. These weren't here just like a month ago or so. And they have these little overlook points. So I can walk out and I can just enjoy the views from this overlook. So again, it seems to be brand new. Not much in it yet, but nice place to go and get an overarching view of the area. So I kind of like these a lot. And again, it's wonderful with my neck mount because a chest mount for my camera is not that comfortable. But this neck mount I got off the bike, didn't change anything, just started walking around. And the view from the neck mount is just perfect. It's like literally exactly what I can see. So, I get the same view as I did. And I'm not awkwardly, you know, kind of talking to these guys a little bit who don't speak English anyway, but I'm not awkwardly holding a camera. What did I say? Yeah, I said I want to get the beautiful view because they're. So they were asking what I was doing and, just being friendly, So again, I can walk around and the perspective is just perfect. I haven't changed anything. What an awesome thing to go from the bike to walking around. I just find it. Talking a little bit more to these guys, just saying goodbye, I think. So again, what a wonderful thing I found, this neck mount. Totally comfortable. As I'm riding, I don't even notice that I'm wearing it, but I can get up off the bike and start walking around. Because I always thought, I'm sorry, but this view where you hold out your arm awkwardly, face it towards yourself, you're obviously holding some, selfie stick of some sort. I always thought that was the silliest looking view, but that's just me. This way, all the views are just natural. So there's the view of the whole little platform there. Again, not too much there. That seems to be an awful lot of platform just to take a quick view. But I appreciated that. So now, again, I haven't touched the camera. I just get on and start writing, and nothing changes. I think I moved the camera out of the way, my phone camera, my phone. So hopefully I'm going to remember to move that. It's got some storage down below to the right. I'm not sure what'll eventually go there. So back on the road, we're just kind of roaming around, enjoying the day. Right now, I can't ride at all. So if I can get beyond these two guys. That was funny. Those are nice guys. But you see, they're totally taking up the bike path. This is a bike path. It's not meant for people. But then I guess it is because you have those observation decks. So I hear some airplane noises in the background. So this area is so pretty and so nice to ride on, but once in a while there is a problem with airplane noise. So that's a little bit of problem for me, you know. So I've added a little bit of the background noise to, but when I'm in a zone, I don't really hear that. So it's funny to hear it recorded later because when I was writing it, usually I'm listening to music or even when I'm not, I don't really notice the tire noise. And I said this before that my tires are fantastic, but they're kind of big and grippy. So they make some noise on the road. So, everything's kind of a compromise, isn't it? I could have thinner tires, like if I had a, different kind of folding bike, like a Brompton. They're fantastic, but their wheels are so small, so they don't make as much noise, but they're not as comfortable. My bike is heavy with big wheels, but riding it, it feels exactly like a normal big bike. So, all right, let's take a pause. Let's enjoy some more music. So I hope you enjoyed that little interlude in music, because all of this is an experiment to me. I'm just enjoying the process. So and there's so many things, should I keep in or not? Like I've noticed in other channels, they have all these cuts. So they show something for like 4 seconds or 6 seconds, and they cut to something else for 4 to 6 seconds, and then they may keep something for a minute. Then they cut back to something for a few seconds. So for me, I find that to be confusing, and I don't like that. But I'm not sure how my audience feels, if I have any audience. You know, I kind of, um, you know, care about my audience, but I don't care so much about YouTube. I don't want to live my life for YouTube or the algorithm. I could try to get clever and do things just to get views on YouTube. And what I decided is that I like these rides. I like just filming and it's like a memory for me. So more than anything else, I'm just recording the memory. And what I use these for is now it's winter. So I will go over these again during the winter or just at home when I'm in my living room. They're a nice memory. They're beautiful views. So again, it's all an experiment. This hill is so hard to get up because you have flat, 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 and suddenly you hit this pretty difficult hill out of nowhere. So you see how much I'm struggling now. If if you heard the sound, I'd be like, really hard to get up this hill. It's short, it's not very long, but it's quite difficult. So you get to this point and I really want to stop and take a break. Just a few second breather. But we're going to keep going and I won't because the downhill is a breather anyway. But again, this is like a memory. And so much do you keep in or not? Like I actually show my breaks. Sometimes I'll stop for a few minutes or seconds or whatever it is. And, you know, the camera's still rolling. So you have a nice view of whatever it is I'm looking at. I think the view is kind of pleasant. So it gives me a little break. And I realize if you're watching this like on a treadmill or a exercise bike or on TV, you're not going to take a break. But, it's part of my ride. It's part of what we went through. So, I like to keep it in. I really have to remember to keep the phone out of the shot. Very easy thing to do, but on this ride, I just forgot. So, you know. So should I keep in those? Another big one is I'm thinking about getting a separate, you know, camera mount for my bike because with my action camera, my DJI action camera, I can easily pop it off. I can turn it around and then show me. So I'm thinking about doing that. So you have this hands-free view of me. Now I know that people like different shots, and sometimes even the shots, with outstretched arms using a selfie stick, which I have, you know, is an interesting shot. And people may not like this same view all the time. Maybe they might want to see a back view, something like that. So I don't know. Part of it is I want the ride to be exactly what I see. You're just riding along, and this is the view we're going to get. We're not going to get the view behind us. We're not going to get a 360 view. Like if I got one of those, what are those, Ace 360 cameras or those Insta 360 cameras? I find really interesting shots, but the quality isn't very good. So quite frankly, I'd rather have better quality, but the same shot. Maybe I'm wrong. So I don't know if you have any comments about that. The other ones would be a lot more interesting, different shots, a lot more editing, things like that. A lot more like a movie. So I'm not sure what to do. There's some value to just, you know, turning on the camera, talking, and, just enjoying the view. Also, how do you like this view where I'm talking over a video from the past? So I find when I'm on the bike, the camera on my DJI is, or not the camera, the microphone is fantastic. I couldn't believe how good the quality was because it's a neck mount. So it's very close to my voice. So it came out fantastic. Whereas the chest mount, I think the quality of the audio wouldn't be as good. It's a little farther away and, picks up a little bit more of the bike noise. But the neck mount, comfortable. There's no straps around me to sweat around, and it stays in place. So again, I'm not having much of an audience yet. And I've done this for 3 or 4 months, and that's okay. I've come to terms with that. That hey, if there's three guys or girls or whatever, if there's three people, who want to ride along with me, that's fantastic. So that to me is more realistic. If I have 1,000 people watching, well, that's kind of a lot. I don't really need 1,000 people to go along with me. But it's nice if there is a lot of people too. Nice wooden bridge there. I really appreciate it. So I just find the infrastructure in Korea, especially where I live, is really nice. I'm not sure if you're getting bored with these same shots though. I do ride the same trails, but I counted them up. There's like 12 different routes. So I think that's plenty of variety. There's like 12. I've seen other shows where they travel and go to different places, and I really want to do that. We just quickly got into the winter. I mean, I just started this channel. So when did I start this? Like in, when did I start this? June, something like that, July, something like that. And so, you know, um, when it gets warmer out, I will take more trips. I just find them hard to plan. It's hard to get information in English for a trip. So I struggle with setting up a route and finding out how to do it. So, and doing these trails, I'm really not that great a shape. So for me to just say, let's go to Mokpo. So, you know, let's say Mokpo's, 75 kilometers away, 50 miles. Well, for me to do 50 miles in a day is quite a lot. And so even to do 25 miles in a day is a lot. So I'm not that great shape. I have a heavy bike. I don't care about distances. But to get anywhere, you have to do the distances. It just would take me forever. So do the trip to Mokpo, I would have to leave early in the morning, go all the way to Mokpo, spend the night in Mokpo, leave early in the morning and get home. It would be a difficult 2-day trip. And other people would laugh and say, oh, come on, that's easy. I could do 50 miles or so every day for 2 weeks. Fantastic. If you can do that, that is fantastic. I just have to know my limitations. I'm not that great shape. So I do what I can. So here we go with this route again. This route, is a very special route to me. It goes to a specific place. So I've always liked this route. So we're coming next to vehicles, but they're not bothering us at all. So the things that I'm debating how to keep, should I get an extra bike mount and turn it towards me when I want to have, on me kind of shots? I'm debating about that. Should I put my face in the video? Is that what's missing? But I don't want to be famous like that. I don't want people to recognize me necessarily. I'm one of those funny creatures where I'm introverted and extroverted at the same moment. I value my privacy, you know? I value anonymity and just being by myself and, you know, uh, deeply thinking about things and zoning out in my own little world. I deeply value that. So, I don't want to be recognized. I don't want to be, stopped on the trail and say, hey, I watch your videos. But my extroverted side would kind of enjoy that. It's nice to meet people, but it does interrupt my zen. So that's a problem to me. So I'm exactly introverted and extroverted. So it's how I teach, because my extroverted side comes out when I teach. This whole other layer comes out. And, like I can, so it allows me to teach. Another interesting thing I can do is I could have the bike video and I could record me as a little bubble down below and directly show my face. It just sort of floats down below like a tutorial. So that's something I'm considering. So it's all these different interesting things to try. So I kind of enjoy all of them. So I'm not sure, what the future of this channel will hold. I almost stopped the channel because I listened too much to the metrics of YouTube, and not a huge amount of people were watching. And so that's fine. So I had to make peace with that. So I appreciate it if 3 people watch or 10 people. It's fine. So I've come to terms with that. I make these mostly for myself. They're kind of like, a record of thoughts. So what am I thinking? What was I going through? So the big news that I'm going through right now is I had a really bad toothache. And this has affected me for about a month now. And so I had a badly infected tooth. And so I really don't like things in my mouth. So I love dentists. They're great guys. I appreciate them so much. But I don't like things in my mouth. It makes me gag and, oh, I hate it. And so, I went through some dental work trying to fix and save this tooth, and it was pretty badly gone. And so I had to make this gut-wrenching decision. Do I save the tooth? Really difficult choice for me. That's my tooth. I don't want to have holes in my mouth. I really hated any decision because I could go through all of this work, this deeply invasive work, go through all this. They go to put on the crown and it doesn't work. There's not enough tooth, or after all that, the dentist could say 50-50 chance I'm going to have to take out the tooth anyway. So really difficult decision. And so I was really in pain. So I made the gut-wrenching decision, got to take the tooth out. It's too far gone. So I went through that difficult procedure to rip out the tooth. And so I just did this the last, week or 2 ago. And then my tooth hurt even more. I thought taking out the tooth would make me feel completely pain-free. But no, it hurt even more. And they said this is going to go on for a couple of weeks. So every morning I'm just like almost screaming in pain. So this morning, finally, it hurts less. I can deal with it. Not great, but it hurts less. So, you start, blaming God and blaming whatever. And you start saying, why do we even have nerve endings in teeth? I mean, it's a bone. I don't have nerve endings in my bone. Why bother to have these incredibly painful things in my teeth? So really was like almost cursing the design. I really hate the design sometimes. And it hurts so much. Why isn't there an off switch? Why can't I just go in and press a button? Like Data in Star Trek. Why can't I have an off switch? I turn off the pain. I get it. It hurts. There's an alarm going off. Got it. I know there's a problem. So even if the alarm system lasted for 8 hours or a day, that would help so much. But to have this crazy alarm going off all the time, 24 hours a day, seems to be to me a total waste. And so that, quite frankly, bothers me a lot. Why don't we have an off switch? So I had to deal with that, And part of the conclusion I came up with is that this tooth problem is a lot my fault. I knew this was a problem tooth a long time ago, but I kept putting off fixing it. Put it off and put it off and put it off. And, I might have been able to save the tooth if I did it a lot earlier, but I waited too long. So now I got to deal with it. So kind of like this trail, you really feel like you're in the middle of the woods. And there I'm stopped, right? There I can't go on any further. We had rain when this was taken, and it's like a huge puddle. Can I make it through this puddle? Quite frankly, I'm not sure if I can make it. So I'm forced to turn around and go back. Go back. Now I'm confused by this video. I mean, this seems like a video I've already used. So it's fine. I have different commentary. Not the end of the world. But is this a repeat of this video? I mean, sometimes I'll take one personally and one for YouTube. So I'm wondering if I've done this video before. It's okay if I have. These videos aren't perfect. So, I'm sure some people watch some videos and not others, so it's fine to use something twice. But that would be unique. It seems like I might have done that scene before. So maybe I used a part of the video or something. It's kind of interesting. So I'm not really sure. It's all good though. So let's listen to some more music for a while. So this is another thing about our format. I used to have two separate videos, one that was all music and one that was all talking. So I'm trying to see if this is going to work, this idea of half talking and half music. Because before, if I just recorded this video and, you know, um, so if I just recorded this video without talking, I would just put, an hour of music, which is interesting and fine. So I'm trying to see whether I add talking and partially music. Some of my videos were all talking. I just had a lot to say. And sometimes I don't have so much to say. So it's nice to add, like when I'm on the bike and talking as I go. I don't add as much music. Or excuse me, I don't add any music because it's all talking. So we're just learning as we go. I don't know if this kinds of videos will ever take off at all. I just want to share Korea with people, share biking. You know, it's something that makes me happy. It makes me feel relaxed. It makes me zen out. It makes me, sometimes even pray and relax and calm my mind, worship, you know. I feel calmed by the nature. I feel calmed by the just the rhythm of it, pedaling and pedaling and pedaling, where the pedaling almost becomes second nature. I don't feel the pedals anymore, but I know I'm getting a workout. I find that to be so interesting. You know, you've been zoning out to a great podcast. You're learning something incredible or some great music. And, you realize, like, wait a minute, I've been biking for 7 minutes and I didn't notice anything. So interesting. Like during this ride, I'm sure I was listening to a podcast or music or whatever. And I wish I could just share that because that was my experience. But copyright, it can't really anymore, you know? So again, I hope you enjoyed this kind. Also, another thing I'm trying is I have the sound up a little bit. So I'm not sure if that's annoying or interesting because I wanted you to get a tiny sense of what I was hearing. Sometimes you'll hear birds in the background. Sometimes, like you just heard, I said hello to people or they talked to me briefly. People are so friendly in this country generally. There's like a biking camaraderie. If somebody were to break down, we all stop and try to help each other. So even though there's a huge language barrier, it's like a group. So it makes me wonder, should I join some kind of biking club? I know I don't live in Seoul, but I know up in Seoul, they have some groups. Like I saw on another channel that there was a big meetup of bikes, and they just went for a 2 hour, very easy ride, some trails and streets in Seoul. And there was like 40 people who went. So you kind of meet some people and, I'm sure some people speak English or even foreign writers. So it's a great way to meet people. But again, the reasons that I ride is very different. I ride to zen out. I ride to get one with the trail. Now, to some people that may seem silly, but to me it's not at all. I literally become one with the trail. Like I notice everything that's going around, and yet I'm in my own world. So I could listen to an hour-long podcast, and it's like I don't even notice it. The trail is like secondary. So I think that's kind of neat. So it's interesting doing a voiceover and not actually on the bike. You miss a lot of the heavy breathing and the difficulty of the bike ride. So in some ways, it's a little bit less realistic. you know, I mean, I've listened to some of my past bike rides, and I'm breathing so hard at points, which makes it realistic. I mean, that was the ride, and sometimes you miss a little bit of the spontaneity. You comment on things as they happen. But I think this works just as well. You know, I was on this ride. I do remember it. And so to comment as I go is quite interesting. And I remember you get to about this point and you know you're getting closer to my goal. You know that. So you get a little excited. You're not there yet, but you're getting close. I'm not necessarily even tired. I'm just, you know, what's so funny is I remember when I first started riding, and that wasn't that long ago. I remember that this ride was as far as I could possibly go. I couldn't believe I rode this far. So I've had rides where I ride this far and then I ride this far again. And that was exhausting. I didn't mean to go so far, but I got completely lost. I think I have that video somewhere where I just got completely lost. So the fact that this used to be the hardest thing for me to do, and now I can do it pretty much without any problems at all. Very interesting to me. So I got in better and better shape. It's been kind of sad for me that I've had all these tooth problems. And what they keep saying is don't do any hard exercise. So I haven't really been able to do much on the bike, even the home bike. So my home exercise bike would cause my blood to pump, boof, boof, boof. And so that really hurts your tooth. So you really feel that pain in your tooth. So that's been kind of sad. I haven't been able to ride like I want to. So my wife actually noticed that the muscles in my legs were, not as defined anymore. She actually noticed that. So that's kind of a drag. But at least we have the possibility of the exercise bike because it's only January. So we got a couple more months or so of indoor biking to do. So I want to step that up. And big question is, should you do the indoor bike every day, every other day, every third day? How often should you do it? And I'm starting to lean to every single day. Maybe some easy workouts, but I want to try to go like 1 hour every single day. It's good for my heart, really good for my knee. It's really good for my breathing. It's really good for my mood and, sort of the steadiness of life. So I think great idea to, use the exercise bike every day. And what I do is I watch my old videos, and these have been wonderful for that. So I'm happy to make these, even if a few people got something out of it. But also I watch other people's biking videos. And those have been interesting too. Interesting to take a trip to Spain along the ocean and, enjoy a bike ride, and see what the views are like there, or, do one through Prague or Paris, London, something like that. I saw one guy who did ones through Central Park and, right to the center of New York City. So those are interesting. So here we go. We're really coming to the end now. This is another big, big, big hill. And we're coming up to a big major bridge here. And you see, I'm almost stopped. This hill is so hard to do. And I can't stand up in the saddle as I do on other kinds of bikes. This is very hard to do. So here we are. We're coming up to this bridge, famous bridge, And so we have to cross the little street here, and then we have to cross this bridge. So absolutely massively huge bridge. So here I'm going to take a quick little breather. So now we get to cross this very iconic bridge. Most bikers, well, not most, I guess, but anybody who bikes in this area, it's kind of a major turning point because this is on a major bike route, you know? So I've seen, all kinds of biking channels show this bridge. It's kind of funny that I live fairly close to it. So it's big, big, big bridge, beautiful river. So now we get to cross this bridge. So in the world of my recording, we're in January and it's snowing like crazy. So it's like a totally winter scene. So it's kind of surreal to watch this view when it was perfect weather and warm. I think I was wearing short sleeve shirt. And then, you look outside and it's snowing out and, cars covered in snow. So very surreal. So I'm not sure where I'm going to stand on all of this, whether I'm going to just record, which makes it easier for biking, and talk later. Maybe I'll just keep with some music for the whole time. One of the problems with that is that you can't use any popular music unless I were to pay for some sort of site. But even then, it's not popular music. It's supposed to be good music. Like I've heard Epidemic Sound is good, but right now I'm just using the YouTube library, which I found acceptable. I found some great songs there. I found some great, speeches there, which I found very, very fun and very interesting. So I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll get something like Epidemic Sound. I know big channels may use it. Right now I'm just trying to keep it simple. Just trying to enjoy the rides. My next big goal is to be able to ride all the way to Mokpo. But just getting to here, which is like the beginning of the trail to Mokpo, is kind of a big event for me. How can I ever hope to get all the way to Mokpo? But I am kind of fascinated by it. How do you get to Mokpo? How does that work? Where is even the trail? So when should I start picking up those stamps? There's these red stamp booths everywhere, which you go and get a stamp, which I don't even know how they work. How do you know where you are? So a lot I need to learn, and a lot of me just wants to enjoy the ride. So I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going to go. So we've crossed the bridge and we go down this little trail. And if you go to the right, it goes down more towards the river. But I'm going to cross here and just, follow this road as we go in. So this is kind of the entrance. And again, I've taken this right on the car many times to bring us into this area. So funny to do it as a bike trip, you know? Right now I'm on the bike or I'm on the car lane, but you cross over to here and you can go into the bike lane. So there's the bike lane, totally separated from the cars. You can see a picture of a bike there somewhere. So still a beautiful ride. Seems a lot further than it actually is, you know? But this is a very pleasant area. Has to do something with water or water conservation or something like that. I'm not sure what it's doing. But beyond this whitish building thing is a huge park, just huge. There's a campground there. There's playgrounds, there's running tracks, there's all kinds of things. So here we come to the end. And, I like this little circular thing. And you pull into here, and usually this is just full of bikes. Now we're late into the season. So you pull into one of these picnic tables and usually full of bikes. So I've hoped you've enjoyed this ride. I certainly have. I hope we listen more and more. Welcome.